40 days. That's how long the United States government has been paralyzed, stuck in the longest shutdown in American history. And while politicians in Washington play their endless blame game, 42 million Americans just lost their food assistance. Flights are being cancelled across the country. And if you thought this was just politics as usual, you're about to see how deep the consequences really go. I used to sit inside one of those big media machines, watching how they'd spin stories to protect the powerful and keep you calm. I couldn't do it anymore. So I walked away, started doing this on my own terms, and now I'm here to show you what's actually happening while the mainstream outlets feed you comfortable lies. And listen, if this kind of straight talk matters to you, hit that like button right now, subscribe to this channel, and if you really want to support independent voices that aren't afraid to call it like it is, consider becoming a sponsor. It's people like you who make this possible, and I mean that, because without you, I'm just shouting into the void. So let's break this down. October 1st came and went. No federal budget, no agreement, nothing. Republicans and Democrats, they can't find common ground, and honestly, the Democrats bear a lot of responsibility here. But here's what that means for regular people. The Supreme Court just froze funding for food assistance programs. 42 million Americans, people with low incomes, families struggling to get by, they were relying on cards to buy fruits, vegetables, meat, dairy products. $9.5 billion a month, gone, frozen. Because Congress can't do its job. But it gets worse. The Federal Aviation Administration started cutting flights at roughly 40 airports to reduce the workload on air traffic controllers. On November 7th alone, nearly 1,000 flights were cancelled nationwide, mostly regional ones. And here's the kicker. Thanksgiving is just weeks away. That's the biggest travel holiday in America. Millions of people trying to get home to their families. And experts are warning the disruptions could get much worse. Imagine being stuck in an airport, missing your family dinner, because politicians couldn't agree on a budget 2 months ago. And while all this chaos unfolds, New York City, the financial capital of the world, just lost its crown. Dubai officially overtook New York as the best city for the ultra-wealthy. Why? Zero taxes on inheritance, zero taxes on capital gains, zero taxes on wealth, high security, high quality of life. The super-rich are packing up and heading to the United Arab Emirates in record numbers. International schools there are overflowing. Now think about this for a second. When the wealthiest people leave, what happens to the city they abandon? Less tax revenue, fewer jobs, declining investment. And wait until you hear this. The incoming mayor, everyone knows him already. He's promised to raise taxes on the wealthiest people and corporations. If that actually happens, you're going to see an exodus that makes the current trend look like a warm-up. The consequences won't just hit the rich, they'll hit everyone who depends on the economic engine that wealth creates. So while Washington is paralyzed and America's richest city is hemorrhaging its elite, what's the plan? What's the strategy to fix any of this? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like we're watching systems break down in real time, and nobody with power seems particularly concerned about stopping it. Stay with me, because what's happening in Europe might give us a preview of where all this is heading. Now let's turn to Germany, and this story is absolutely wild. A new poll just dropped, and it shows that 25% of Germans miss Angela Merkel. 1 in 4 Germans wants her back as Chancellor. According to this research from a public opinion institute, she's especially popular among young people and supporters of the Green Party and the Left Party. But inside Friedrich Merz's Conservative Union, her popularity is pretty limited now. When they asked people directly, do you miss Angela Merkel as Chancellor? 25% said yes or mostly yes, while 68% said no or mostly no. This is causing huge debates across Germany, especially on social media. And here's something interesting. The poll found differences between rural and urban areas. The more developed the region, the stronger the longing for the former chancellor. Make of that what you will. But then there's this absolutely bizarre incident in Saxony that required a massive operation and bomb disposal experts. Here's what happened. A family was cleaning out their grandfather's garage while the 70-year-old man was in the hospital. They're looking for interesting stuff, maybe some hidden valuables, old family treasures. Instead of finding old paint cans or gold coins, they discovered a live artillery shell from the East German era. Fully functional, explosives intact, detonator ready to go. Immediately, everything escalated. Police cordoned off the entire area. Bomb disposal specialists were called in. The danger was so severe they decided not to take any chances. They detonated the shell in a controlled explosion, and a helicopter circled overhead while they searched for a safe spot to conduct the operation. Now the 70-year-old garage owner, who was lying in a hospital bed when all this went down, he's facing legal trouble. They suspect him of violating weapons storage regulations. What started as a simple garage cleanup and family curiosity turned into a major security operation. The lesson here is pretty simple. Wartime souvenirs belong in museums, not stored next to garden tools. And nobody's answered the most important question yet. Why did Grandpa have an artillery shell in his garage in the first place? If you're finding this coverage valuable, do me a favor, drop a comment below with your thoughts on any of these stories. I read them, I really do, and your perspective matters. Over in Bavaria, they're talking about a huge scam that just unraveled. A father tried to dodge child support payments, and now he's risking jail time. This 37-year-old man sent his friend to take a DNA test in his place. He even made a fake Romanian ID with his own photo. The test result came back negative naturally, but the scheme fell apart fast. The child's mother received the document with the photo and immediately noticed something was wrong, spotted the deception. The con didn't work, to put it simply. Justice intervened, as expected. Both men were charged with document forgery and fraud. The friend fully admitted his guilt, showed remorse, and got off with an €1,800 fine. But the actual father, he didn't show up to court, he's resisting, and now police are hunting him with an arrest warrant. On top of the criminal case and court judgment, this man owes about €8,600 in child support that he hasn't paid since the child was born. The moral of this story is straightforward. He wanted to save money on child support, and instead he got fines, debt, and an arrest warrant. Sometimes it's cheaper to acknowledge your responsibilities and just pay what you owe than to dream up schemes that will get you punished far more severely, as you can see. Moving to Denmark, and this is significant. Denmark is about to become the first country in Europe to ban teenagers under 15 from using social media. They're following Australia's lead, where a nationwide ban on social media for anyone under 16 takes effect this December. Denmark is preparing to be the first nation in the European community to introduce an age restriction on social media use. In certain cases, parents will still be able to give consent for use starting at age 13. They haven't specified yet which exact platforms will fall under the restriction or how authorities plan to enforce the ban. According to monitoring services, the most popular platforms among young people in Denmark are TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. This raises huge questions about implementation, privacy, verification. How do you actually enforce something like this without creating surveillance systems that track everyone? It's a complicated issue, and I'm not sure anyone has figured out the right answer yet. But what's happening in Britain, that's deeply concerning. Britain is tightening measures against hate speech, but the new rules are raising serious questions about the limits of free expression. A country that publicly talks about the importance of protecting democracy is gradually drifting in a troubling direction. A pastor named Mick Fleming shared that police officers approached him and warned that a bumper sticker with a Bible verse on his car could be seen as an expression of hatred. The verse in question was from the Gospel of John, chapter 3, verse 16. It reads, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life." That's essentially a message of hope and good news for people. And while the officers were polite, showed no anger, they noted that such texts could trigger complaints. They warned him. Fleming himself emphasizes that he intends to keep the sticker, viewing it as an expression of his faith. The topic of free speech restrictions in Britain is being discussed more and more frequently. There have been many cases causing public outcry. Criticism is also coming from veterans. On the program Good Morning Britain, a 100-year-old World War II veteran named Alex Penston stated that modern Britain doesn't justify what his generation sacrificed. They didn't fight for the situation that's unfolding in the country now. He essentially condemned everything happening in Britain at this moment. Let me bring this all together for you. In the United States, we've got a 40-day government shutdown freezing food assistance for 42 million people and disrupting air travel nationwide. New York is losing its ultra-wealthy to Dubai because of tax policies. Germany is seeing a quarter of its population nostalgic for Merkel while dealing with bizarre security incidents. Denmark is banning social media for teens. And Britain is moving toward restrictions on speech that would have seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of larger shifts happening across Western democracies. So here's my question for all of you. Are we watching the slow unraveling of systems we thought were solid? Or is this just turbulence before things stabilize? I don't have all the answers, but I know this much: staying informed and thinking critically has never been more important. If you agree, Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and seriously consider becoming a sponsor. Independent journalism depends on support from people who value the truth, and I'm grateful for every single one of you who makes this work possible. I'll be here tomorrow with whatever breaks next, and I trust that I'll be among the first to bring you what truly matters. Write your opinions in the comments. Tell me what you think about everything that's happening and what I've covered here. Until next time, may the skies remain peaceful, and may the news always turn out better than we fear.